Holy beards, Batman.
Holy
Yeah,
beards,
man.
Batman.
Yeah, man.
All right. Hey, everybody. How's it going? We got MZ, Detox, and our good friend Shannon Book in with us today.
What's up?
Hello.
For those that don't know Shannon, he is a prior service Navy Corpsman, retired. He's an artist. He's toured the world. He's done big shows. He's literally played in front of what, 60,000 people?
Yeah, something like that.
Nothing to sneeze at.
He knows
right?
Prince Harry. His buddies with him.
I mean, I've met him.
My goodness. So, what
Keep
we
calling
have
him
on
Henry. It's probably bad.
Don't
what?
call him that.
I
Henry.
know. It's his brother.
Just, oh my God. Got that. Man, now I'm all rattled. It's H. We can't get Harry. It's H. Trying to make my way to meet him one of these days. That's
H.
the long-term dream, right?
You'll get there. You'll get there. If I can get there, I promise you, you can probably crawl there.
You know what? That's the goal. So kind of what we wanted to talk about today was what brought Shannon into the Navy, what that time in service looked like, some of the things he dealt with. Shannon has a pretty amazing story, and both Detox and I have been lucky enough to hear it and find it absolutely worthy of sharing with everybody else, and hope that it touches you in the same way that it touches us. And the beautiful thing about it is his story's not over. He's continuing to do great things, and the future's looking awful bright. So that being said, Shannon, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Happy to see you. Yeah, I know you just wrapped up a little something over in Nashville, right?
Yeah, I just did a little networking jaunt. Yeah, I just got back from Nashville doing a little networking stuff with a buddy of mine, Scotty Hastings and Jason Steiner and Jesse Cunningham. We were over there kind of doing networking stuff with musicians and record labels and people, things and stuff, and so we were over there just kind of doing the whole, hey, this is me, this is what's going on and why.
Yeah, I was teasing Shannon. I got to see one of the pictures from his time over there, and it's several dudes, and they've all got these like Viking style righteous beards, and I wanted to be a little shit and comment on it, hashtag Battle of the Beards, but I figured I'd behave.
If you could see him, you're styling.
Oh yeah, well the reality is that the whole crowd, out of the whole crowd of beards, I was the minimalist.
That says something, because it's an impressive little beard. Well, it's more like an extended goatee.
That's exactly what it is.
You know, my husband can't grow hair in certain spots.
Oh yeah.
So
just tell him to get pregnant. I grow a fucking
get pregnant. No, we're done with kids. We're trying to manage teens and tweens. We're past that.
Yeah. Pregnancy, shut your mouth.
Yeah, no. Him or me, no.
That's the secret to growing an epic mustache.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you right now, like Dave Coulier, put it out. Don't be no more of that shit.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So thanks for having me.
No, glad that we could make this work. So let's start from kind of the beginning, right? How old were you when you came in? Was that always the plan, something you wanted to do, or was it kind of a knee-jerk reaction? What led you to the Navy and your job?
Well, so I mean, I grew up in a little podunk town in the middle of nowhere, East Bernstadt, or Hazel Patch, Kentucky, to be more specific.
Hazel Patch.
Wow.
That sounds like someplace you'd find like the Strawberry Shortcake Gang or something like that.
Yeah, or the Catfish Lugger Bunch, or there's
Sandlot. Is that where you're?
Yeah, something like that. So, but grew up, working on tobacco fields, working in cattle. We raised our own vegetables and pretty much killed what we ate, because we were in the middle of nowhere, and we were never, how do I say this? Because I want to give my parents credit. We were never destitute. We were always taken care of, and we were taken care of well. Now, I will say that most of the time I helped raise my sisters because mom and dad were working, and that's just how it was.
You were an 80s kid.
Yeah, like when they talk about like, hey mom, dad, the commercial, hey mom, dad, do you know where your kids are? That
True
was me.
statement. Yep.
That was me.
Us too.
Listen, I was 4 miles away on a bicycle at 10 o'clock at night, riding home.
Mm-hmm.
That was me on a gravel road, like, crazy
Out
shit.
in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky.
Yeah.
But back then it was, it wasn't a thought. I mean, my mom was a little more like, you bet we had to be in by dark and stuff like that. But between 8 in the morning when we went out the door and noon, we were gone. Just come back at lunch, live and feed. You could hear her yell. And then between noon and who knows, 5 for dinner,
dark,
shove some food in your mouth, and we were gone again. Like, be back by whatever, 9.
Yeah.
Flashlight tag.
Oh my God.
And
Like now mom and dads won't let their kids out of their yard. Like, and it's like,
yeah.
Well.
But when you hear stories of like, I mean, this happened up in it hasn't happened in a while, but this was like 5-6 years ago. It's like a mom and her kid walking from the grocery store to the car, and this deranged person tried to kidnap the daughter. The daughter's like 11 years old. And he tried to, mom beat the shit out of him, but.
Well, you know what's funny? I'm going to say this, and this is probably not going to be taken very well. So
from you, Shannon, we'll take it just fine.
Have you guys met me? The reality is that all that stuff was happening back then.
Agreed.
It just wasn't publicized like it is today.
Agreed. Actually, statistically, it was higher back then than it is now.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right, because it was easier to get away with.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Now, it's sensationalized.
Mm-hmm. Like all our lives.
The Dahmer movie, I've never seen so many people decide they were going to wear Jeffrey Dahmer glasses in my life.
People are so influential.
People went and bought glasses to emulate a cannibalistic serial killer. Like,
it's a cool thing to do.
That's the culture we live in today.
However, I'm going to turn it a little bit and say that there is a reason all that exists if you turn it towards other things like the military, right? We have to get indoctrinated. We say that word, and people are like, oh my God, indoctrinated. I'm like, yeah, and the more subculture you are, the further indoctrinated you have to be.
Absolutely.
Because some of the shit they're doing, other people will be like, you what? Or you don't even know about. There is no you what, because they ain't going to tell you.
Absolutely. Well, and it's funny that you bring that up because, you're absolutely right. Like, and I never thought I was perfectly fine with doing what I was doing.
Which was?
It's at the age of 17, I went into the Marine Corps recruiting office and I was like, hey, I want to be a Marine. And they're like, oh, yeah, cool. Awesome. Here's the practice PFT and here's the practice ASVAB. Oh, yeah, absolutely. What do you want to be when you grow up in the Marine Corps? And I said, I want to be a doctor.
Didn't do your research, huh?
Well.
The gunny picks up his coffee cup after just putting a freaking fresh dip in and drinking his last drink of coffee. Spits in his coffee cup, sets it back down on his desk, and he goes, you want to be a what? I said, I want to be a doctor for the military. And he goes, you don't want to be a sniper? You don't want to be a cop? You don't want to be a killer? You want to be a cool guy?
A cool
guy. No, I want to be a doctor. Yeah. I'm like, no, I want to be a doctor. He goes, all right. Then he picks up his cup again and he spits and he sets it back down on his desk and he gets up and he walks me across the hall to the Navy and he goes, hey, Boats. He was talking to some second-class boiler tech. And he just called him a bosun mate. He's like, hey, Boats. This young man here wants to be a Fleet Marine Force corpsman. Make it happen.
Oh, what the fuck is that?
I'm like,
is that a doctor?
He goes,
close enough.
And of course, he's like, yeah, they'll be calling you doc in no time. And I'm like, cool.
Same.
Yeah.
Didn't see med school.
Cool. I'm thinking to myself, I can't wait to take the MCATs. I can't do this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be super cool. I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna give everybody the bird.
Okay, this is
like you people.
Clinical setting, nice white coat.
This is
in a field somewhere.
This is the PSA for all kids that are ready to come in. Once you get the information from the recruiter, go back and ask some other people.
Learn your own information. I promise you.
Recruiters, there's a reason why they recruit you.
You do know that they send them to sales school, right?
Oh, yes. It's all about the numbers. I had a
It's
friend that
literally
was a
what
recruiter.
Recruiting is sales.
Yeah.
It's a pitch. They send you to pitch school.
Yeah. Actually, here's my short story of recruiting. When I came in, there was 13 slots open for nurses. And they were, I don't know, they told me there was only one left, probably just so I'd be like, oh, I got to join. Well, at the same time, my brother's at tech school, and they're using him as an example. They're just like, his roommate messes the dorm room. My brother got punished. I mean, it was just like, so apparently he was probably one of those harder guys to break down mentally. And so they were just really working him, right? And he called and told me one day, and he's like, damn, this is going on or whatever. Don Quixote over here goes walking into my recruiter's office, and I just raise hell. And I'm like, what in the hell do you guys do? And I go on this whole tirade. I will say, this is the only time I ever had power in the military, ever. And they're like, what do you mean? And I tell them what's going on with my brother. I make some comment about a family member. My mom's cousin was in the military. He was like a senior ranking. He actually signed my first set of orders. It was very funny. He was a chief.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right on.
I still have him. It's neat. But
so he was a field grade officer, yeah?
No. He's chief.
Oh.
Yeah, he was chief enlisted. Anyway, he's assignments, medical assignments, I guess. So they reach out to the tech school. And they tell him that I'm the niece of some colonel. They make up this whole, I'm like, I don't know a colonel, right? And they tell them to back off him because they're trying to recruit me to come in. And I'll be damned. And I didn't say a word.
Now.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's like, I am the colonel now.
Yeah, I swear, it's the only time I ever had power in the military. And they backed off him. And I remember him telling me, I didn't tell him for like a couple of years. He says, man, it must be that the instructor is like having a baby. It must be like easing up on him, or, he's like, he's different now. I'm like, oh, yeah. Recruiting people. When you're coming in, they're recruiting you.
Right.
So when did it sink in that whole idea of doctor, in the sense most people think of it, wasn't going to happen?
Wasn't doctor?
Wasn't doctor. Doctor.
Doc was not doctor.
Yeah.
Probably the very moment that, I don't know, like I thought that it was plausible, probably all the way up. Well, to be honest with you, I think it was still plausible. I think I chose a different path because it's at a certain point I was like, oh yeah, I want to be a surgeon. I want to be a trauma surgeon. That's what I want to do. And then I became a Navy Corpsman. And when I became a Navy Corpsman, like, it was, you want to talk about, like, okay, so you're a medic and you're a nurse, and then, like, we're talking about all this stuff, like, the corpsman, and if you look at lineage, it kind of speaks for itself, but it is totally, you just said earlier, is like the smaller, the more finite group of people you become, the more doctrinated you become in that group of people. Navy corpsmen believe that we are the best on the battlefield. We believe we are the best on the battlefield because that's all we focus on.
Mm-hmm.
A soldier medic has to focus on all of the grunt stuff and focus on all of the corpsman stuff, and then it has to focus on all the personal stuff. When they train a corpsman, when we train, I say they, we, I was a freaking instructor my last like 8 years or last 4 years. Like, when we train those people, we train them to be the focus and the light on the battlefield. Like we tell people, hey, listen, just so you know, and I believed it, and I still do. When a corpsman dies on a battlefield in front of the worst and the meanest bunch of Marines, morale drops 65%. morale drops 65%. So if you die, not only have you gone, but you've also
You've lost hope.
you've also killed 65% of your team.
Yeah. Who do they go to now? Right.
Right. Now, that being said, and again, this is not me talking trash about it, because it's a necessity. It's a necessary evil.
Absolutely.
These things are necessary evils. And like, I chose to do this. I chose to do this. This is what I chose to do. So I can't be, I was at one point in my life, I was the disgruntled asshole who was like, well, they don't really give a shit about me anymore, and this and that and the other. And the reality is, it's not their responsibility. It's not. Uncle Sam has a job. We'll save my opinions of how that job is being done right currently. But Uncle Sam has a job to do. And that job, whether you like it or not, is to protect and serve the security of this nation. Period. Now, you want to take everything away, and if you get all the smoke and mirrors off the freaking table in Congress, and you just look at the information in front of you as to what each department is designed for, you'd realize that things are a lot less convoluted than you would think. The reality is, we put so much smoke and mirrors and all that garbage that people are like, well, we don't really need all those troops, and we really don't need all that. Well, the reality is that we do, and we need some hard pipe hitting people.
We
And
need
that
more.
we need a lot. We need some people, and I'm not talking about serial killers or psychopaths, but if you're controllable, maybe. But my point is that there's an evil necessity of security, and we don't have it. We're about to learn. We're about to learn what not having security is all about.
Talking about readiness.
Yeah. Do you think that part of the reason why veterans struggle, and I'll say that the struggle probably starts more towards the end of the career, is because they finally can see that light where they realize, truly, I am just an asset, especially when it goes wrong is the word that comes to mind, but it's not the right word. But when you end up in a scenario where you cannot be medically retained anymore, you're broken, and now the military says, hey, thanks, but you got to go.
You end up in a dermal pile.
Yeah, my example is always the Humvee, right? The Humvee, it rolls at the exact same rate all the time, and either you fall off and you can get back on with some help, or you fall off and you can't. And as that veteran is seeing that Humvee go out of sight, do you think that there is when the issues kind of start?
I think that's a big part of it, but I think it's so much. Looking at my track record, and this is just my humble opinion, but I think personally that it started a lot longer ago. So the whole time I don't know about you guys, I'm pretty sure there was a carrot dangled in front of me the whole time. And again, necessary evil, because the whole point is for me to buy in completely. And I think that what the problems are is that and I'm not saying this has to change. I think that the understanding of what's going on has to be important.
I agree.
So I think that when you're brought in under, we won't call them false pretenses. We'll call them
perceptions.
We'll call them embellishments and perceptions, right? You can be, because technically you can always say to anybody, you can be anything you want to be. All you got to do is work at it. Now, we all know that at some point, somebody is not going to be able to do that because they're either not capable, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, or they don't have the fortitude or the desire. So all those things, it's like seeing the cake on a billboard 65 miles away and waiting for till you get there so you can have a piece of cake.
Good
And then
analogy.
you get to the piece of cake, and there ain't no damn cake left.
They done ate everything in the frosting.
Right. There
Damn
ain't
it.
no damn cake left. And then you get out the door and you're like, I just been sold a whole bunch of shit
Yeah.
For a whole lot of time.
for
And
a
a whole lot of
lot
waiting.
time. Right. You
And
take 17 years of eating the same cookie because, by God, this cookie tastes like dirt, but it's a cookie. It's gonna take care of me right now. Then I'm gonna expect that cookie on the way out the door too. And when the cookie's not there, then I gotta go make my own cookies. That's where the things change. And then I realized, and this is just me looking at my perspective, looking back at my perspective, because I thought to myself is that this is the most prestigious thing I could have ever done. Like I gave up the idea of going to be a doctor because doc was good enough for me. Doc, I'm going to tell you right now, you can't, being a doctor is awesome. 10 years of medical school, 2 years of internship, 2 years of residency, and then your staff, right? At that point, that's a long, long, hard road up the hill to being a doctor, right? And this is just me speaking from a corpsman's perspective. When I'm doing the same work that a PA is doing in a clinical setting at the age of 19 for 1,200 Marines, we'll say 960 because it's not reinforced. We'll say 960 plus Marines.
A few.
You've got 44 corpsmen doing that same exact job for one surgeon and one chief, and they're all doing sick call for the surgeon because the surgeon's too busy doing admin stuff. But I'm seeing all the cases. Like people talk about, well, medics, all they do is Motrin, change your socks, turn out board, take a knee, blah, 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 blah. The reality is that they don't see the other side of that coin. Like when you're coming to my office and it's 10:30, it's sick call, and you're going, hey, doc, can you take a look at something? I already know I'm looking at a penis.
That's right. That's the only reason that gets said.
I already know you're going to take your trousers down and go, hey, what's this? I already know that. Because 10:30, if you wanted to be here at sick call because you're sick, you want to get out of some shit, you just showed up way before 10:30.
That's when you're like, I'm already warming the Y-cillin and the bicillin.
Yeah, man. Here's your Rocephin and Bicillin. Have a great day. That's right.
Well, so you bring up a good point here. And we have civilian audience that listen to us and civilian medical, and when we started this podcast, it's geared towards military medicine, but we all know how much we do overlap in, our work ethic, our sarcasm, dark humor, all that other stuff. This right here is where we are vastly different. Right. Vastly different. Correct. And so, Shannon, can you just give a quick summary of like what you can do in a day? And I mean like the farthest end out in a field and to an office, which you basically have office visits,
Sure.
What does that look like?
For on any given day, let's say in garrison for training. Let's just talk about garrison for training. So in garrison is back at home on camp base, out training, doing things, preparing for war. This is just your everyday, all day, whatever. Mm-hmm. So a medical day from that point, 5:30, 6 o'clock, we're on the grinder. We're getting ready to do our freaking morning PT, blah, 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 blah.
Hashtag silver bullets.
Right. Passing out, right, exactly, facts and stuff. Oh, there's another down Marine. Doc, get the freaking safety truck up here. Okay, right on. Right, so that being said, PT's over, you go take a shower, you get your breakfast, and you come back to freaking sick call. Sick call starts at 7 a.m. in the morning. 7 a.m. in the morning, 7 to 7:30, depending on where you're at and who you are and what branch of service you're in. Right? So 7:30 in the morning, let's say 7:30 in the morning to 10:30. It's usually 7 to 10. All right? So we'll say 7 to 10. All right? You get in there, you start doing your freaking... You start, getting prepped up for sick call. Sick call comes in. You start out with like maybe 2 Marines, and then you've got a bunch of corpsmen out with all the rest of the battalion. You've got 4 companies. You've got corpsmen with each one of those companies doing training operations. So let's just say you do sick call. Everybody's doing sick call right now. Got maybe 10 people in house. The doctor's in his office signing records because he's got to go through all his Q&A for the next day. Right? I'm seeing things like anything from musculoskeletal injuries to infectious disease to cardiac problems to STDs.
Lots of that.
A lot of that. So, but I'm seeing all these things, and I'm doing everything from, like, I'm writing a consult up for freaking an MRI or an EEG or an EKG, and I'm writing these consults up, and I take it over to the doctor, and I'm like, here's what I got, doc. He's like, oh, so did you? And I'm like, yeah, everything, blah, blah, blah. Here's it all written down.
Made him
And
a honey
he'll sign the
tea.
consult. Right. And he'll sign the consult. He'll sign my note, and I'll send the dude off to radiology. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor
And
never
these
got
are 19, 20, 21-year-old kids.
Right. I'm working on his license. Legal and legitimate medicine under the supervision of certain people.
Right.
However, comma.
But you're still doing it.
Still doing it.
Now, if you walked over to say you doing your stuff and you got right out of the military and walked over to a hospital, civilian, what would you be relegated to?
Janitor.
Yeah, you'd be emptying Foley bags, taking blood pressures.
You can't even be a CNA unless you challenge the board.
So I'll tell you real quickly that my husband was a paramedic, and it was very hard. He moonlighted while he was working, and he was a medic. He was a paramedic on the outside, but still the difference and it was really hard.
Oh yeah,
it was really hard.
Yeah,
he struggled with that part because he was capable. So go ahead, MC.
And that's not even what he was doing in theater. I mean,
right?
Oh yeah. Listen, this is in garrison, and let's talk about a training evolution. Like we go out with a whole company, and you got four docs with a whole company, 4 maybe 6. Let's say you got 6 in a company. Let's say a weapons company is about 186 men, and you go out for 3 to 4 days, and you're there. You're the only person taking care of all the snivels, the cuts, the bleeds, the runs, the bathroom situations, the wash up stations, all. Like, you've got to be a preventive medicine technician. You've got to be a surgeon. You've got to be an internal medicine guy. You've got to be an empath. You've got to be mom, dad, sister, brother, the cousin, uncle. You've got to be the pastor.
And
because that's what Doc brings to the freaking field,
right,
in a training evolution for 5 days.
And then add to deployment and going out and past the fob, or, out there, or they're coming back from out there, and you're handling whatever comes in that door.
Well, to speak to that, like when you it's, man, yes, being a paramedic and an EMT sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you don't know the people you're working on.
Yeah, that's a pretty profound statement right there.
It sucks. It sucks. It sucks putting your friend in a fucking bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you do it more than once, it's even worse.
Only imagine some of the challenges that might come up in that scenario. When you come out of a bad situation and you're peeling your friend off of your flak jacket, bad fucking day.
Yeah, yeah. It's already like, because what I used to, and this is bad, this is horrible. I used to tell them, I said, listen, you're the guy that's supposed to go tell St. Peter he can't have him. I don't tell him the other part. Be prepared for St. Peter to tell you to kiss his ass.
Yeah. You got to give
because
hope.
That's a fact. And that's the other part of it. Yeah, you got to give hope, even if it means lying through your teeth.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't kind of get that part because there's a mental component to hope,
If you're sitting in the middle of a freaking air, like in an area of operation, and you've got your hand literally wrapped around somebody's aorta in his abdomen, and you're going, "Hey, man, no, hey, it's cool. Like you can tell your wife your own stuff. It's all good. You already know. You already know
where that's gonna go.
Yeah.
You got to give everybody. It's crazy. People don't understand that. You got to give everybody around you hope. You got to give him hope. You got to give the Marines around you hope to let them know that you're there and you're going to do everything you can, no matter how painful it is.
Yeah.
That's real.
I think that's what makes the Navy Corpsman so special, though, and this isn't something I understood until I saw it firsthand. The Marines, their patients fucking love and respect them to no end.
Oh, yeah.
And I had heard that, and I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, all of our patients like us. No, it is absolutely different.
Nope.
I mean, I
Because we
think
live
about
with each other. Like it's there's a bond between Marines and corpsmen that most people will never understand. 90%, first of all, 90% of the time when people are like, "Hey, so what'd you do in the service?" And I was like, "I'm a corpsman." They're like, "What?
Badass.
unless you're a Marine, you sure the hell know
Right,
what
right. Oh,
that is.
absolutely. If you're there, listen. Just because you wear the title Marine doesn't mean you're awesome. Trust me.
That goes in any service. You can name any of
That's
them.
the fact, and that's the same. It's exactly right.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah. We got our garden variety everything. We'd be
I
like,
promise you, I promise you. Just because you have the title veteran after your name does not mean that you're awesome.
right.
Period.
Talk
But
about-
9 times out of 10, most people have no idea what the hell a Navy Corpsman is. Like, what is that? So so most of the time I just tell them I made ice cream.
Oh my God.
Dork.
What'd you do in the service? I made ice cream because it's easier than telling them the truth. And if I'm like, well, it's kind of like being a medic, but it's not at all being like a medic. It's like being a PA. It's like being a PA and being thrust into a position to where you have to learn how to keep yourself alive and keep everybody else alive.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Because-
incorporate that empathetic side, that pastoral side, all those other things you mentioned. This isn't just clinical. This is whole person.
This is personal.
And personal. Right. Person and
This is
personal.
personal. Like, and it sucks because what I get to watch people that I know have been saved from some freaking heinous stuff and watch them get out and start out off like, oh yeah, this is amazing, we're going to be doing these cool things and this, that, and the other, and then they end up in a box.
Yeah.
I still hold accountability for that because
How
I
can you
spend a
not?
better part of 4 to 5 years with these people at a time. Like, you've been over to their house, you've helped raise, you've babysitted their children, you've watched their dogs, you've gone to, I don't even know what the fuck it's called, gender reveals and all this other crap.
Gender reveals.
They're not just homework. That is
Right.
a legitimate
Like-
relationship backed with love and experience.
Yes, I mean, and then you make staff NCO, and then you're like, oh, yep, it's just a number, because that's what you have to at that point. At that point, Corporal, I need 5 men. I don't give a shit who it is. I need 5 men, and I need them over here right now.
Right.
What do you need? Just get me people. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna put them in harm's way, but I need it. I need it now. So there is a shift in every position. Like, I don't give a shit who you are. From the matter of fact that when I was at E1, the shift to E2 felt like a small clutch grind. But I felt it. And I was like, oh, ooh, E2, man. Like, I got a little more, not a lot.
A little more responsibility.
Right.
A little more responsibility, a little more pride, and a little more.
And when you're
a little more
19
leadership.
or 20, that's a little bit. That you feel that. I mean, that's as we
By
kind
the
of
time
move
you
up.
make E3, it's time to be putting on your big boy pants because it's
Right.
time to make NCO.
Yep.
Shannon,
Where the
what
rubber meets the road.
led? Were you medically retired or did you retire?
Oh, I was medically retired at 17.
17 years, medically retired. And then when you transitioned out, just kind of, because that's always an issue for people, is that transition's rough. I mean, I went
Well,
through it.
so yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you this: when you went through it, was it your expectations,
Well, of
or was it
myself, right? Because
right,
I mean, I got out
or
during.
was it of yourself, and or like for me, like the expectation wasn't just of myself; it was of what I was promised.
Well, I can't say that necessarily for me, but I'll say that I got out during COVID, so expectations were
Right,
really low for
right.
me.
That touche. Well played.
Yeah,
Don't
there weren't much. I
don't
mean,
do it.
we were just happy. It was a year later before I got my retirement certificate. So, if that kind of tells you where we
Yeah.
were at, yeah. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely,
but
absolutely. And
what?
it had to be wiped down with alcohol.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Right. But what happened when you transitioned? We all went through something, right? I got a story. MZ's going through it now. You know, we all have got our own journey in that.
Sure.
What was it for you and led you over to finally music? So how did all that? Because
Oh
here you
man.
are doing medical, and now you're strumming a guitar.
Well, I mean, I've been into music most of my life. Like the first time I ever played any music was in fifth grade. Like they asked if anybody wanted to go over to the band room and you know pick an instrument and be a part of the school band.
Did you play the
No,
tuba?
no, no.
Was
I played one of the most sexiest instruments on the planet, the
saxophone? Saxo.
saxophone.
I knew
The
it.
trombone.
Saxophone.
I mean, I'm not gonna tell you it's not sexy, especially in Louisiana, but like saxophone is always sexier. Anyway, long story short. So that's where I started. I started there. I started learning to read music. My grandfather told me, he's like, hey man, you know, here's the deal. He gave me an old Boots Randolph's greatest hits cassette. And most people don't even know who Boots Randolph is.
Jazz, correct?
Huh?
Jazz,
Yeah, he's like one of the most
biggest. Yeah.
influential jazz saxophonists ever.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a greatest hits of covers, and they were awesome. You know what I mean? So like, and to hear Boots Randolph play the entertainer on a saxophone was flipping awesome. You know, and so that's my grandfather was like, if you learn how to play this, I'll buy your own saxophone. Like, cause we rented my saxophone. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, oh, done, too easy. I mean, and it wasn't because I spent years outside listening to freaking cassettes and rock and roll stations and playing the saxophone along with it, and like the song in the Lost Boys where the big dude's playing the saxophone on the dock, you know what I mean? Like that was part of my inspiration. And my cousins played guitar and drums, and my uncle was in a rock band, and so I was like, I'm doing that shit too because it's just cool.
Cool.
And I was already artistic. I was already drawing and stuff like that. So, like, I liked art. Art was awesome to me, and I love science, which was weird.
No, no, no.
Yeah, it kind
Actually,
of makes sense from the doc standpoint. I get it.
they
Yeah,
correlate
they do. You're
science,
right.
yes, and
But most
art.
people don't realize that.
They do
Most people don't realize that.
use a lot similar parts of the brain. Yep.
Yes, right. And that's generally, and crazily, that's generally how like you get cross interaction from both parts of your brain. You get brain, what's it
Mm-hmm.
called?
Right and
Don't
left
ever get,
side. Yeah.
yeah, when you're using both sides of your brain. Anyway, so that's how I got into music, and music just followed me. I played a lot of when I joined, I was out in San Diego for most of my, early career. My first year and so was in downtown San Diego, like, Ocean Beach, PB, Mission Beach. And we would go down to Rosarita and sit on the beach and do stupid stuff and play guitar and sing songs and all the grunge. And I can't tell you how many coffee houses I played in freaking San Diego, you know but it was a hobby thing. It was just a hobby thing. And did I want to get picked up for it? Absolutely. But I had an active duty career that I was dealing with. I
You
already signed a contract, so it wouldn't have mattered. Like all that, like, oh yeah, I was like, oh, maybe one day they could buy out my contract.
When you look back, do you think that music really helped you process a lot of stuff that was going on as you moved through your military career?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this last fall, I got to go do this thing called Gordy's Highway 30 Texas edition thing, where I was with an organization called Rock the Troops, and
Oh yeah.
and what they do is they take veterans out to do songwriting retreats, and they might help them get through some stuff and write a song about it and help them perform it or whatever. And it's pretty cool. And I was out there, and I got to go, and I got to meet somebody who, I would otherwise. I mean, I know a lot of celebrities, but I would have never otherwise got to meet Aaron Lewis from Stained.
Wow.
And I walked up to Aaron, and I was like, "Hey, man, I just want you to know, because in Fallujah, I had a Discman, and I had one disc because it was all that was on the shelf. I bought a Discman and one disc.
You just
And
dated
that
yourself.
I did. I know I did. This is in 2004.
Discman.
And so I bought Stained Break the Cycle at the
Oh
PX.
man.
And all I did was listen to Stained Break the Cycle over and over and over and over. And then I brought a guitar. So I started learning. Their music. That was where I started. Like I started getting really heavy in the music, because at that point in 2004, I was already seeing some horrible shit. Like I'd already done my first deployment in Fallujah and seen some fucking heinous shit.
Yeah.
But in Fallujah, there was a lot of really ugly stuff, you know.
But when you have music to come back, I've seen,
Yeah.
when my husband deployed, they would do, I mean, the civilian community that's listening, music is critical to the military world. I mean, when they're flying their combat missions, let me tell you, they got some music cranking, you know.
If you don't think that "We'll Put a Boot in Your Ass" wasn't ringing through Fallujah 90% of the time.
Right.
Or AC/DC Thunderstruck.
Oh, yeah.
Like PsyOps was playing that shit on the loudspeaker
Right.
forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were doing that during OIF-1 through on Azaria.
I remember, I mean, it's all through our culture, right? I mean, it's just everywhere. I remember some of my buddies were OTS instructors, and they said before they'd go into the students, they'd go watch Full Metal Jacket and then bang out to the soundtrack, and then they'd go in, right? Adrenaline pumping kind of stuff.
No, well, I'll tell you,
war
we
face.
used to do stupid shit. We used to smack each other in the face before we go in secret.
Yeah,
Like,
doesn't shock me.
if there was something like you need to bring some intensity, we'd have our like co-instructor smack us in the face. Like stupid shit.
Yeah, but what are you doing, right? You're trying to prep. I mean, you're trying to prep for things that are normal, like
Get your head in the game.
you don't do it
The
everyday
reality
life.
is that as an active duty member who should be getting ready to go to war, you should live in post-traumatic stress.
That a very good
Survival.
statement. Yes,
That's what keeps you alive on the battlefield.
that's right.
PTS is what keeps you alive. There's nothing. Here's what I don't understand. I need people to understand that PTS is not a fucking disability.
It's a survival.
It's an added plus.
Mm-hmm.
Stop placating it to be this thing to where, oh my God, it's destroying my. No, put it in its box. Humor me. It has a place. It has a place just like everything else in your life. When you did something, if your dad ever had to beat your mom, or your mom was being beaten by your dad, at some point you decided that you were going to step up and say, no, you're not doing this again. Or you just watched it happen. That's PTS. That's what that is. Stop it or just let it go on. Choose a decision.
Right. And then what people don't understand is that we train you the skill set. And then when you come home, it's a struggle to shut it off because you have been trained a certain way. And that is the problem.
Well, you're never told that you need to turn it off.
Right. And you don't know how to. And that's what starts interfering with, things like, your wife is now saying, why is the loaded hot Glock under the pillow? So that's where.
Listen, man, when I got back from Fallujah, I was staying with my buddy Tom Matula. and in Chula Vista, and I promise you, like he gave me one of the little spare bedrooms in his house, huge, beautiful house in Chula Vista,
Mm.
and I had a very nice guest room that I was staying in. I would go to sleep with an open K-bar under my pillow.
Yeah.
I had nicks and stuff all over my hands. I'd have to wash the pillow in peroxide once a week because there were freaking nicks and blood cuts and shit from like cutting myself with
Yeah.
my own fucking. I woke up one morning out of a nightmare, night terror, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
Woke up standing in front of the door, waiting for it to open with my K-bar in my hand.
And that's where it becomes the issue when the sleep is not happening and all that.
Do you think it's fair to say PTS we know happens? It's not a secret,
We created
but
it.
it's each individual's job responsibility. They hold the ownership to do something with it. It's not your fault necessarily that it happened, but it is your job to do
Right.
something
To
with it,
manage it. Yeah.
It
to
is
manage
my
it, to address
responsibility
it.
every day to get up and go, you know what? Not today, man. Not today. Today you're going to be a good dude. You're going to do what God asked you to do. Today you're going to put God first, and you're going to put people instead of it. Instead of focusing on what I could literally be giving up on, I can focus on what I can do.
Yeah. That's a good segue into really your transition. So you got out, right? So you had
Right.
music, thank goodness.
Right.
But
Right.
was it working at that time? Like what
Oh, no,
happened?
no. When I retired, after I medically retired, like music was a part of it. We started this little band called Slack Noise in Jacksonville, North Carolina, and we were playing all over North Carolina, Emerald Isle, and all that stuff, and playing in Fayetteville and all around North Carolina. And we were doing some cool stuff, and it was an all military band, and we were having a good time, and I had a lot of angry music, man. And when I say angry music, I had a lot of angry music. Like I would take Tool and I would turn it up two notches.
You're like death metal.
It was, well, you could guarantee that when you heard something I wrote, it was angry.
Yeah.
It was angry.
Therapeutic though. I mean, you're getting it
Yeah,
out.
well, yeah. I mean,
Honestly.
yes and no, because on top of it, what was I doing? Medicating. I was
Mm.
medicating, and not only that, I was already clinically medicated. I was clinically medicated. I was on 14 drugs a day for 4 years.
Mm. Yep. Nobody went through and deconflicted that whole med list and said, "Damn."
I was on like six different mood stabilizers and benzodiazepines, and I was on like a bunch of migraine medication, doing all kinds of stupid trash for that. I was doing and all of these things were causing the problem.
And self-medicating
Oh, and well, and I was drinking a shit ton of alcohol.
because that helps.
Oh
Medication.
yeah. I listen. I'm the asshole. I'm that douchebag. This is not my proudest moments. None of my proudest moments. But I'm that douchebag that would walk into the bar and go, "Which one of you motherfuckers want to knock my block off?"
Oh yeah,
And
lots
I
of
would sit at the
anger.
bar. I would take a shot of Jameson. And I'd drink a half a PBR, and
You're
I
just
would just
looking for
sit
trouble.
there. Which one of you motherfuckers want to knock my block off?
Yeah, you want to get it out, but you're getting it out deconstructively and
Well, and what I really wanted somebody to do was knock my head off my shoulders.
yeah.
I didn't want to carry my head anymore because I was tired of carrying what was in it.
You made a comment in the beginning. We were talking about this and I think before we really got going here, and you said, I was drinking to try to get to sleep, try to
Yeah.
calm
No,
my
yeah.
nerves, whatever, and it didn't work, so I stopped and I smiled because this was something that I fought a lot in the military, the stigma of like people with PTSD or alcoholics. That is not a proper
No.
blanket statement.
No.
The alcoholism
remotely.
is a disease. And there
Yes.
are some people that drink and find out they have that link and they
Sure.
become alcoholics. And there are people that are drinking and both are trying to cope. And then the
Sure.
other person says this isn't working and puts the
I
bottle
mean, the
down.
mechanism is that you're absolutely right. The mechanism is the same.
Right.
The mechanism is always the same. And I don't give a shit if it's heroin, alcohol, sex, work. Doesn't matter. The mechanism is always the same.
Coping.
The
And the
difference.
substance is the side effect of the disease itself.
Exactly. Well, so we're talking about alcoholism or addiction versus self-medication. And
Right.
like most people are like, well, you know, if you talk about, and humor me, I'm a huge fan of the program because it works for a lot of people. It's not necessary for everybody. And I may or may not have been talked about like, hey man, you should probably you should look into freaking Mr. Bill W. And I'm like, I've looked into Bill W. like, like I didn't need Bill W to quit drinking.
What's Bill W? I don't know that one.
AA.
Oh, AA.
Ah,
Gotcha.
okay.
I was
Yeah,
like, Bill W.
AANA. So Bill
Right.
W was part of the solution.
And that
So
doesn't work for everybody. I know
no,
people
well,
that
it
they
doesn't
found
work.
other methods.
It doesn't work until it works.
Right. I mean,
That's the deal.
it's a good
That's the
program.
deal. Listen, I'll be honest with you. It's an amazing program. It really
Mm-hmm.
is.
But you're not an
But
alcoholic either.
correct.
There you
Not
go.
only that though, but here's the other side of that coin. There are addictive personalities and there are not. That's clinically proven. Now, if I am I have a bar in my house. There's a bar with more whiskey and bourbon than I could get rid of in a week. I have bottles of beautiful Italian wines in here and some amazing port from the green freaking green winery, and those seasonal ports are amazing. I'm not white knuckling for shit.
Right.
Like, I don't care. I made a decision. I made a decision because my life was going backwards. I was self-medicating. I was jacking up myself. I was falling away from God. I was doing all these stupid things. And I made a decision in a jail cell. I made a decision at 2:00 in the morning in a jail cell that I couldn't do this anymore.
Rock bottom.
Mm-hmm.
That was my 4th DUI. That was my prison DUI.
Fuck.
Right here in Texas. When they tell you you can't afford a DUI in Texas, they're not fucking with you.
How long were you in jail for?
I was only in jail for like 23 hours, 22 hours.
Just a dry out.
I think they say like the average DUI costs anywhere between $10,000 and $22,000 from
It
start
depends
to
on
finish.
where you're at, but I promise you, even that here in the state of Texas, like you're going to pay at least 20.
You still have your license after 4?
And only by the grace of God. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Veterans Court, and I promise you, if
we know Veteran
we go.
Treatment
Amazing.
Court very well. I work
Amazing.
with them. Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I told Georgetown that I'd be happy to work with them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
a great program.
whenever it is, I'm all about it. So, but the only reason, again, all of that is there by the grace of God, and I say it all the flipping time. There by the grace of God go I, because I promise you, if it's up to me, I'm going to screw it up.
So when you got out of there, there it was, jail cell. Like, all right, we're done, and that was a flip.
Yep.
Then what?
I had to, just because like I was sitting in the jail cell and I had said I quit. That was probably the lowest point in my life, because I just got out of that jail cell, and my next court appearance, this was during COVID, my next court appearance was going to be a year later, and the probability of me going to prison was very real. So I waited a whole year to find out whether I was going to prison or not.
Had that lingering over your head.
Oh yeah, and then I walk into
Talk
a
about
courtroom,
stressful.
and I'm gonna tell you right now, if it weren't for the sweet words of Judge Barker and her staff looking at me and telling me that I had another opportunity to put myself straight, it would have been a bad day, because I'd spent a whole year waiting to go to prison. I went to court knowing that my probability was going to be a prison sentence for at least a year at a minimum. 4 DUIs across the United States, a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
That's a minimum of a year in a prison. And in my head, it was either I'm either going to own it or I'm going to die in it. That's where I was at. I'm either going to own that prison or I'm going to die in it. One of the two. So I it's time to put in the work. At that point, it wasn't just about music. It was about therapy. It was about being real with myself. It was about connecting with God and connecting with the people that I've known and readdressing things that I've caused and the hurt that I've created and and trying to reconnect the people that I've destroyed or hurt, broken bridges, burnt bridges, all those things. It was time for me to put in the real work of being a grown ass man and owning my own shit.
Time to heal.
Yeah. Well, everybody can heal. The hard part about it, and I say this all the fucking time, man, it's simple math. Get rid of the fucking smoke in the room and look at the fucking skeleton on the floor. Put it back together. When you're done trying to play with the smoke and well, why is this smoke in here? Who gives a shit? Get rid of it. Well, why are we creating this smoke? Well, because I don't know. Fucking, we'll figure that out later. But you can't create, like, we create bigger problems in our own head for every situation that we're in than it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
Guilty. Guilty.
Like, it doesn't have to be so convoluted. Look at the facts. At the end of the day, we're putting freaking garbage in the middle of a freaking truck that doesn't need to be picked up. It's trash bags full of air. Get rid of the trash bags full of air and see what the real problem is and then fix the real problem.
No.
But I've got to get to it and I've got to recognize it and I've got to really put in the damn work.
Which require us first to identify it, own it, and then show up for yourself consistently.
What were you saying?
Look in the mirror.
That's it. That's it. That's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've done some real intense and hard shit. The hardest thing I've ever done was look in the mirror.
Yeah. It's a hard one. I think it is the hardest thing anybody can
My
do.
kids will never understand how hard. I didn't want to screw my kids up. I didn't want to screw because I was not okay. I was not okay. And I didn't even so much as raise a finger to fight to save my kids. I just let her have them. And I'd let her do whatever she wanted with them. I don't have a relationship with my kids because I wasn't in a good place to have a relationship with my kids. And when I was, like, they've already kind of, no, dad, whatever. So now,
How old were they around that point?
when I was jacked up, Owen was probably maybe 7. Clara was probably like 2, 3.
How old are they now?
Well, he's 21. He'll be 22 this year, and she's 15, 16.
You know, if I could say anything to that, just what I have seen, I'm by no means an expert in this, but what I've worked with a lot of veterans that have been in that situation, and the one thing I have seen is as the kids get older, they kind of develop that whole frontal brain. I think a step back that there is healing that happens, and I don't think it has to be the end of the road. So,
well, and I'm in a place like I called them all of the last 3 months of last year. I mean, like, hey, just want to see what you wanted for Christmas and this, that, and the other. Trying to get a hold of you, trying to talk to you, and I'm still trying to text them.
That's good. That goes a long way.
I haven't had any response. And listen, man, at the end of the day, like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, the hardest thing I've ever done was take the very serious look at myself.
Yeah.
I have to own what I've done now to those kids, thinking of that when I was doing what I was doing was saving them. I've never been a part of their life.
Yeah, I'm afraid of hurting them.
Yeah. Well, I was afraid of taking their childhood away.
Yeah.
That's what I was. That's what I was afraid of. I was afraid that I was going to really jack up my kids because
So
I
it's
was
safer to
not
stay away.
mentally and emotionally stable.
Did that channel into your music?
Oh yeah.
So speaking of that, it reminds me of you just released, right? A song that seems to be quite popular.
You talking about Dear Mom?
Yeah.
One.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dear Mom, like I was asked about Dear Mom. Man, that was tough. And even then, like I was doing all kinds of therapy. I was probably doing like 8 hours of therapy a week.
That's
One.
intense.
Yeah, like there was 2 group sessions a week. There was 3 like personal sessions, 4 personal sessions, and it was a lot. And then I got out, and then the VA only wanted to see me once every fucking 3 months, and they wanted to do exposure therapy. Well, we'll talk about take this, go take this recording of the worst moment of your life, take it home, and be by yourself with it, and then turn it on and listen to it over and over and over again.
So reason that needs to be done in inpatient setting.
CPT. I'll tell you. Do I believe there's a place for talk therapy? Absolutely, I do.
Yes, but
Do
it has
I
to be
believe
guided and supported.
right? Do I believe that you should just like everybody can do it? No, not everybody can, and some will never be able to. But are there enough other
Right.
modalities to help them process without talk therapy?
Well,
Yeah.
you're right, absolutely. So I wrote a song called Frustrated, and it was back around that whole period of time because and Frustrated was like I realized that everybody wanted to help me. I didn't know what the fuck I needed.
Good point.
And people were just throwing stuff at me like, "Hey, you should try this. You should try this. You should come to church. You should do that." And I'm thinking to myself, like, if I go to church, the church is gonna burn down. Like, I don't need to walk into a church, man, because like God has already forsaken me. And the reality is none of that was true. But in my head, that was what was going on,
Right.
you know, because I'm not worthy of God's love. And at the end of the day, that's not true. But what I will say is at the time, it was so overwhelming when people were just like, "Hey, you should try this. You should take Wellbutrin. You should try this. You should do that. We're going to put you on Effexor, 300 milligrams of like, that's like putting you on an anti-aircraft gun. 300 milligrams of Effexor. That
And then
like I was a zombie.
Then try to come off it.
Oh, it's horrible. I did.
Yeah.
I went freaking cold turkey for a year. It went nuts.
Oh.
People go insane. I one of my friends, if she
I went
wasn't
straight to a hospital.
yeah, I had a friend that was on, I think Wellbutrin, and if she was an hour late, she started feeling off.
Oh yeah.
I mean
Your
the
skin starts to crawl.
detox
like-
on that is
Yeah,
nasty, and
bad.
nobody seems to tell anybody that.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, there's just
Those things are like, and listen, I agree that there's a place and a time for those things, but at the end of the day, it's just another narcotic.
but it should always be that when you start this, it is to help you kind of
Get to the end of it.
get back in control, to be able to
Right.
heal some of this, to be able to talk through some of it, because you're so inflamed, you cannot have that discussion. And then be able to, wean off that as
They
you
were
are
like, "We're going to
healing.
put you on lithium." I'm like, "You're not putting me on battery acid.
Oh, damn. Hello, tardive
You're not doing
dyskinesia.
it.
Yeah.
You're not putting me on battery acid." Like, I know enough about medicine to tell you to kiss my ass.
That's nasty. That glad. And here's a good point you're making, Shannon. You guys can advocate for yourselves.
Yes.
You can,
absolutely.
and
And let me tell you this. Like, I want to say, and sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but
go
I want to tag on to what you just said. Just because a doctor tells you something doesn't mean you have to follow that. That's what a second and a third opinion's for.
Thank you. That's the important part. Don't go to Dr. Google and say, well, they say no.
Well,
You go
how
get
many people go to WebMD right now? Merk.
nah. But at the same time,
Or hey, I spent a night at a Holiday Inn Express last night. I know
And
what
I-
I'm doing. Like, shut up. Like, my girlfriend, like, I love her to death, but she's like, "Oh, I watched Grey's Anatomy. I have a
God.
degree in Grey's Anatomy." I'm like,
no, because doctors are actually starting IVs and stuff. That's not real world.
"Oh no."
I mean,
I mean, they can't. There are some doctors like there are some doctors that can, but like,
well, yes,
primarily
but it's not what they do every day.
those
I
are the
don't
guys
trust it.
those are like
Mm-mm.
unicorns.
Yeah, right.
those guys and gals are like unicorns because those guys came from where we are.
Right. So how long you been retired?
Since February of 27th of 2010.
2010. So 14 years. Nice.
Yep.
All right, you guys. So I've decided. I'm making a command decision here. We're going part 2. Because
we gotta come inside.
Nurses always thinking they got the rights to tell us what to do. I mean, they do.
y'all listen though, don't you?
That was
no
comment.
Kind of. Well, you do
order.
You know what y'all do? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. There's nothing more
You're not wrong.
fucking
Yes,
annoying than when you're talking to them and all of a sudden, I know because I have a husband that does this to me, he just click and they look and they're all perfectly standing there, blank face looking at you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Ma'am.
Fuckers.
That's that senior NCOs.
I
Some
tell
things
ya,
just don't die, man.
it's a little thing that y'all my kids do it too. My son be like, yes, ma'am. I'm like, shut up, turds. Super annoying. All right, so we're wrapping this up, and we're going to do a part 2, Shannon, because a lot of good conversation, and I don't think we should really.
As shit.
You are long-winded as shit. I'll give you that. So, all right. So everybody here, you just be listening because there's going to be a part 2 coming out, and we put it out every 2 weeks. So you're going to have to listen to this one, and then you're going to have to wait 2 weeks and listen to part 2 of Shannon. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
That's right. All right.
What she said.
So it's Detox and MZ here, and we are going to peace out for now, and then you're going to see us all with Shannon in part 2.
Deuces.